Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. That one sentence holds the secret behind every remarkable story you've ever heard. Behind every gold medal, best-selling book, thriving business, or inspiring comeback, there was discipline. Not motivation, not luck, just consistent, intentional discipline. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. It's the quiet voice that whispers, "Keep going," when the world is telling you to quit. It's setting the alarm when you'd rather sleep in. It's choosing the apple over the donut. It's saying no to what you want now so you can say yes to what you want most. The truth is, success doesn't happen because you're gifted. It happens because you're committed. And commitment without discipline is just a wish in disguise. Most people aren't failing because they lack potential. They're stuck because they keep negotiating with their excuses. But when you stop negotiating, when you stop waiting for the right moment and start applying discipline daily, that's when your life changes. Discipline doesn't just change your results, it changes you. It sharpens your mind, builds your character, and stretches your capacity to live a bigger, bolder life. Today I'm going to walk you through the powerful lessons that will show you why you must never neglect discipline, because it's the foundation of everything you truly want. Stay with me for the next few minutes as I show you how to build a life you're proud of, one disciplined decision at a time. Let's dive in. Number 1. Discipline is the gateway to freedom. Most people think of discipline as a restriction, something that takes away your freedom. But the truth is, discipline is what gives you freedom. Real freedom isn't doing whatever you want, whenever you want. Real freedom is waking up with peace of mind. It's knowing you're in control. It's having options because you've done the work. Without discipline, life controls you. But with it, you take the steering wheel. Think about the people who seem truly free. Free from stress, free from debt, free from drama. They didn't get there by chance. They got there through daily discipline. They showed up when it wasn't easy. They made decisions that served their future, not just their feelings. Take Nelson Mandela. He spent 27 years in prison, and yet his spirit remained unshaken. Why? Because even in confinement, he practiced discipline, mental discipline, emotional discipline. Instead of letting bitterness define him, he chose purpose. And when he walked out of that cell, he didn't walk out angry. He walked out ready to lead a nation. That's freedom. And it came through discipline. If you want freedom in your finances, you need the discipline to manage money. If you want freedom in your health, you need the discipline to move and eat right. If you want freedom in your time, you need the discipline to plan and prioritize. Every kind of freedom requires a kind of discipline. That's the trade, and it's always worth it. See, the pain of discipline is temporary, but the pain of regret can last a lifetime. Discipline asks you to sacrifice the short term for the long term. It's tough, but it pays. And the reward is that priceless feeling of knowing you're in control of your own destiny. So if you feel stuck, if you feel like life is pushing you around, maybe it's time to flip the script. Stop looking at discipline as punishment. Start seeing it for what it really is. The door to your next level. The key to your peace. The price of your personal freedom. Freedom isn't free, but the cost is worth it. And the cost is discipline. Number 2. Small acts of discipline shape big results. People often wait for a major breakthrough, a huge opportunity, a bold moment of courage, or some overnight transformation. But here's what they don't realize. Greatness doesn't come from grand gestures. It comes from small, consistent acts of discipline, repeated over time. It's the little things that build the big things. It's the 5 minutes of reading when no one's watching. It's the decision to save $10 instead of spending it. It's getting up when the alarm rings, even if the bed feels warm and forgiving. Those are the quiet choices that shape your destiny. There's a story about a young man named Marcus. He worked nights delivering pizzas in a small town. No big education, no connections. Just an average guy trying to get by. Every day he'd take home a handful of tips and wonder if life would ever change. But one night after a long shift, he sat in his tiny kitchen, opened a used book someone gave him, and read just one chapter. The next night, he read another. That became a habit. 15 minutes a night, Then he started taking notes. Then he started applying what he read. He began waking up earlier, planning his day, saving a little money, and building a vision board on the back of an old cereal box. Not much changed in the first few months, but something changed in him. He was becoming a different man, more focused, more intentional, more disciplined. Within a year, Marcus launched a small online business from his kitchen table. Within 3 years, he left the pizza job. 5 years later, he was mentoring others on financial freedom. And it all started with 15 quiet minutes. No applause, no spotlight, just small acts of daily discipline. You don't need a revolutionary plan to change your life. You need a consistent one. Reading 10 pages a day may not feel like much, but that's 3,650 pages in a year. A few push-ups a day won't sculpt a perfect body, but do them every day, and your body starts to shift. Speaking kindly to your partner every morning might feel ordinary, but over time, it builds trust, connection, and love. Discipline doesn't need to be dramatic. It just needs to be steady. Like water dripping on stone, it eventually reshapes the surface. Most people get discouraged because they don't see results fast enough. They quit the gym after a week. They give up on budgeting after one setback. They throw away the journal after missing 2 days. But discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about staying in the game. Missing one day doesn't ruin your progress. Quitting does. That's the real difference. Successful people aren't more talented. They're just more consistent. They stick with the basics longer than most are willing to. And eventually that compounds into extraordinary outcomes. Imagine it growing from a tiny seed. You don't see progress on the surface for a long time, but underground, the roots are forming. They're anchoring. They're preparing for something strong to grow upward. That's what daily discipline does. It grows your roots. It strengthens your foundation. It makes sure that when success shows up, you're ready to hold it. You don't need to wait for the perfect plan or the perfect day. You don't need to start with 5 hours a day. Start with 5 minutes. Start with one habit, one journal entry, one act of kindness, one healthy meal, and repeat it. Build the muscle. Strengthen the mindset. Discipline is a skill, and it grows with use. Marcus didn't change his life with one big move. He changed it with one small step, repeated again and again, and so can you. Don't underestimate the power of tiny disciplined actions, because over time they don't just add up, they multiply. They reshape your habits, your identity, and ultimately your life. Discipline isn't always loud. It doesn't always get applause, but it always gets results. Small things done with purpose and persistence lead to big things. So if you want to build something great, start with something small, then keep showing up. That's where the magic lives. Number 3. Discipline defeats excuses. Excuses sound good. They're convincing. They dress themselves up in logic and wrap around you like a warm blanket on a cold day. But here's the hard truth. Excuses never move you forward. They only delay the life you were meant to live. And the only thing strong enough to defeat excuses every time is discipline. Excuses will tell you it's not the right time. Discipline will whisper, start anyway. Excuses will remind you of your past failures. Discipline will tell you that failure was training. Excuses will point to your lack of resources. Discipline will remind you to use what you do have. See, every person who's ever accomplished something worthwhile had the same temptation to make excuses. The difference? They chose discipline instead. Take the story of David Goggins, for example. If you've heard of him, you already know. This man defines what it means to push through excuses. But it wasn't always that way. He grew up in a violent, abusive home. He struggled in school, was overweight, and was plagued by self-doubt. At one point, he weighed nearly 300 pounds and was working as an exterminator, spraying cockroaches in restaurants at night. He felt stuck, depressed, and broken. One day he saw a documentary on Navy SEALs. Something inside him lit up. But the requirements? Brutal. He needed to lose over 100 pounds in 3 months. Every excuse in the book was available to him. I'm too heavy. I'm too old. I've never been athletic. My past is too damaged. But instead of accepting those excuses, he chose a different path. He chose discipline. He started waking up early. He ran when it hurt. He studied when it was hard. He lost the weight. He endured rejection. And eventually he became one of the few people to complete SEAL training. And then went on to complete some of the toughest endurance challenges on earth. All because he stopped listening to excuses and started listening to discipline. Now, most people aren't trying to become Navy SEALs, but all of us are fighting a battle with excuses. Maybe yours says you're too busy, or too tired, or too late. But discipline doesn't ask for perfect conditions. It just demands consistency. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. It cares what you do. That's why it's so powerful. It shows up when motivation disappears. It keeps working long after inspiration fades. Excuses are fueled by emotion. Discipline is built on decisions. Every time you choose discipline over excuse, you build trust with yourself. You reinforce the belief that you are in charge. Not your mood, not your fear, not your laziness. You. And that belief creates momentum. Once you realize you're stronger than your excuses, something shifts inside you. You stop being a prisoner to your limitations and start becoming a builder of your future. But here's the key. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for everything to feel right. Discipline begins when you do the thing anyway, even if you don't feel like it, even if it's uncomfortable, even if no one else believes in you yet. That's when transformation begins. If you keep feeding your excuses, they grow stronger. But if you starve them, if you act in spite of them, they shrink, and over time they die. What's left is you, focused, clear, committed. That's the person who makes things happen. That's the person who builds something that lasts. Let's be honest, excuses are easy. Discipline is hard, but the easy road leads to regret. The hard road leads to freedom. And the thing about regret is, once it arrives, you can't undo it. But discipline prevents regret. It earns respect. It creates progress. And most of all, it gives you your power back. So the next time you hear an excuse in your mind, pause and choose discipline. Choose the workout. Choose the book. Choose the cold shower. Choose the early morning. Choose the hard conversation. Choose action over avoidance. Do it not because it's easy, but because your future depends on it. Because at the end of the day, excuses make your life smaller. But discipline makes it bigger. Number 4. The discipline of giving. There's something deeply powerful about giving. Not just giving when it's easy or convenient, but giving on purpose, giving with consistency, giving when no one's watching. That kind of giving takes discipline. And that discipline doesn't just help others, it transforms you. Most people think giving is about charity, but true giving is a mindset. It's a way of life. It's not just about money. It's about time, energy, knowledge, encouragement, and support. And the more you give, the more you grow. That's one of life's beautiful paradoxes. It feels like you're pouring yourself out, but somehow you come away fuller than before. Think about this. A candle loses nothing by lighting another candle, and yet by sharing its flame, it multiplies the light in the room. That's the discipline of giving. You don't lose, you expand. There's a man named Wayne Barnes whose story captures this perfectly. He wasn't born wealthy or connected, but he stumbled upon a seminar in his early 20s that sparked something inside him. He took notes, he listened, he followed every instruction. But what made Wayne different wasn't just that he applied what he learned, it was that he shared it. He bought books like Think and Grow Rich and As a Man Thinketh by the Box, not just for himself, but to give them away. Every time he met someone he believed in, he handed them a book with a personal note. That became his habit. Over the years, he gave away thousands of books. And what happened? His own life exploded in growth. Financially, yes, but also in friendships, in opportunities, in influence. He ended up building an incredible life, not just because he learned, but because he shared. At one point, he built a beautiful home and personally dedicated a room to the mentor who inspired his growth. He didn't just say thank you, he showed it. And later, when he bought a massive sailing yacht, he created a guest room on board specifically for that same mentor. That's not just generosity, that's disciplined generosity. Intentional, consistent, and deeply meaningful. But here's the thing. You don't need a yacht to be generous. You don't need millions to be a giver. You just need a decision. You just need discipline. Maybe it's taking time each week to call someone who needs encouragement. Maybe it's mentoring someone younger. Maybe it's writing down what you've learned in life and sharing it with someone going through a hard time. Those small acts matter. They ripple out further than you realize. But giving isn't always natural. Sometimes you feel tired. Sometimes you feel like you don't have enough for yourself. That's when discipline comes in. Discipline says, I don't feel like giving, but I know it matters, so I will. And every time you act on that, you become bigger inside. Your capacity increases. Your awareness expands. Your influence grows. See, giving is one of the few things in life that guarantees a return. Not always immediately, not always from the person you gave to, but it does come back. Maybe as gratitude, maybe as a relationship, maybe as an unexpected opportunity or blessing down the road. But the law is real. When you give, you grow. But remember, giving is not about proving something. It's not about superiority. It's not about guilt. It's about impact. It's about discipline. It's about choosing to sow seeds, even when you don't see a harvest right away. And the real reward, it's how giving shapes you. It makes you more patient, more understanding, more open-hearted. It pulls you out of selfishness and into purpose. And over time, you look up and realize you're not the same person you used to be. You've grown, not just in success, but in substance. So develop the discipline to give. Not just once, not just when it's easy, but as a lifestyle. Share what you know. Share what you've experienced. Share what you've overcome. Share your time. Share your gratitude. Share your wisdom. Because when you give without holding back, you don't just make others better, you make yourself better. Giving is not subtraction, it's multiplication. That's why it takes discipline, and that's why it's worth it. Number 5, serving others is a high form of discipline. One of the most powerful but often overlooked truths in life is this: if you want to be great, serve many. If you want to rise, lift others. Success isn't just about what you can accumulate, it's about how many people you can impact. And impact requires something more than desire. It requires discipline. Serving others takes effort. It means showing up when it's inconvenient. It means listening when you'd rather speak. It means giving without expecting applause. That's not always easy, but it's meaningful. And over time, it makes you great, not just in achievement, but in character. Discipline in service means putting your ego aside. It means putting purpose above pride. It means recognizing that your gifts, your talents, your resources, they weren't given to you to be hoarded. They were given to be used for good. Think about Mother Teresa. She didn't chase money or fame. She chased suffering and brought healing. She didn't wait for perfect conditions. She walked into the streets of Calcutta, where people were dying and abandoned. She picked them up with her own hands. She cleaned their wounds. She sat with them in silence. And she did this every day, with no cameras, no spotlight, no recognition, only discipline. Discipline to serve the lowest, the forgotten, the ones no one else would touch. And what happened? The world noticed. Not because she demanded it, but because she deserved it. But here's the thing. Service doesn't have to be dramatic. It doesn't require a passport or a platform. It starts where you are, with what you have. It could be helping your team succeed instead of just chasing your own win. It could be mentoring a student, supporting a coworker, or simply making someone feel seen. These aren't small acts, they're seeds. And when sown consistently, they build a life of extraordinary meaning. Now let's talk about why service requires discipline. Because your mind will often want to turn inward. I'm too busy. They don't appreciate me. It's not my responsibility. These are natural thoughts. But discipline interrupts those patterns. Discipline says, it's not about me. It's about what needs to be done. It shows up when your emotions don't want to. And in that space you grow. Serving others also builds resilience. Why? Because it forces you to get out of your own head. When you focus on someone else's pain, your problems get smaller. When you help someone else rise, you rise too. Discipline in service teaches you empathy. It teaches you patience. It teaches you humility. And these aren't soft skills, they're life skills. The kind that make you a better parent, partner, leader, and friend. You also learn something valuable. Not everyone will say thank you. Not everyone will notice your sacrifice. But discipline teaches you to keep serving anyway. Because your value doesn't depend on validation. It depends on your contribution. And the more you contribute, the more value you carry within yourself. It's easy to serve when it feels good. But discipline keeps you serving when it feels hard. When you'd rather retreat, discipline pushes you to lean in. When you feel unnoticed, discipline reminds you of your purpose. That kind of discipline shapes leaders. It shapes legends. It shapes people others trust and follow. Here's something else. When you commit to serving others, you also position yourself to receive. Not in a manipulative way, but because the world responds to people who give, doors open for givers. Opportunities find them, relationships deepen. Why? Because they're not just looking out for themselves. They're building bridges, and bridges carry traffic in both directions. The best version of you will always be the one who's making a difference. Not just making money, not just making noise, but making lives better. That takes heart. But more than that, it takes habit. A habit of serving. A habit of asking, how can I help? And doing it, not just once, but often. Especially when it's hard. Especially when no one's watching. So if you want to live a bigger life, start by helping someone else live a better one. Discipline yourself to serve. Discipline yourself to lift. Because the most fulfilled people aren't the ones who have the most. They're the ones who give the most. In the end, service is not a task. It's a calling. And discipline is what keeps you answering that call every day with purpose, strength, and joy. Number 6, grow your capacity by growing your character. There's a simple truth that changes everything once you understand it. You can only hold as much life as your character can handle. You can only experience the joy, the success, influence, the love, at the level your inner strength allows. If your character is small, your capacity stays small. But when you grow your character, you grow your capacity. And the bridge between who you are now and who you want to become is discipline. A lot of people think growth comes from learning more, but information without transformation doesn't stick. Discipline is what turns information into transformation. It's what takes lessons from the page and carves them into your daily life. And when you do that long enough, something happens. You begin to expand. You begin to carry more. Not just the good things like joy, love, and purpose, but also the tough stuff like disappointment, failure, and pain. And instead of breaking under it, you learn to carry it with grace. Consider the story of Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist who survived Nazi concentration camps during World War II. He lost his family, his freedom, and almost everything he had. But he discovered something remarkable. While his external circumstances were controlled by others, he still had control over one thing: his attitude. He chose to find meaning in his suffering. He chose to remain mentally free, even in physical captivity. That decision didn't come from emotion. It came from discipline. A quiet, daily decision to maintain dignity, purpose, and focus, even in the worst conditions imaginable. Frankl's story teaches us something vital. Character isn't built in comfort. It's built in challenge. And discipline is what allows you to face that challenge and grow through it. Character is developed when you say no to shortcuts, when you resist the temptation to cut corners, when you keep your word, even when it's hard, when you show integrity, especially when no one's watching. That's not always fun. That's not always easy, but it always expands who you are. And here's the beauty of it. The stronger your character, the more you can receive in life. Some people wonder why they're not experiencing more success, or deeper relationships, or higher levels of joy. Often it's not because those things aren't available. It's because they haven't built the capacity to hold them. It's like trying to pour a gallon of water into a cup that can only hold 8 ounces. You don't need more water. You need a bigger cup. And discipline builds that cup. Growing your character also builds emotional resilience. You stop being thrown around by your moods. You stop reacting to every bump in the road. You develop strength, steadiness, clarity. That means you can handle more pressure without breaking. You can lead better. You can love better. You can live better. But again, none of this happens by accident. Growth doesn't come from wishful thinking. It comes from daily choices. It comes from deciding to do the right thing, even when no one will notice. It comes from cleaning up your habits, facing your weaknesses, and refusing to let excuses run your life. That's character work. And it takes discipline. One of the most powerful exercises you can do is ask yourself, if everything I want showed up tomorrow, would I be ready to handle it? The money, the business, the relationship, the opportunity. Could your current level of character carry that responsibility? Could it stay strong under pressure? Could it hold the blessing without collapsing under it? If the answer is no, that's not a reason to feel bad. That's a reason to start building. Every book you read, every early morning you conquer, every temptation you resist, every promise you keep, you're not just surviving the day. You're building the person who can carry your future. Discipline is not about restriction. It's about readiness. It's about becoming the kind of person who can receive and retain the rewards life has to offer. Because success without strength will crush you. But success with character, that's sustainable, that's real, that lasts. So if you want to live a bigger life, grow a stronger core. And to do that, lean into discipline. Day by day, choice by choice, thought by thought. Build your inner world, and your outer world will expand with it. Grow your character, and you'll find there's no limit to what you can hold. Number 7. Lifestyle is a discipline, not an accident. Lifestyle isn't just about what kind of car you drive or what vacation you take once a year. Lifestyle is your everyday expression of who you are. It shows up in how you dress, how you speak, how you treat others, how you spend, how you tip, how you carry yourself, even when no one is watching. And the truth is, lifestyle isn't something you fall into. It's something you design. And that design requires discipline. Most people think they'll improve their lifestyle after they become successful, but they've got it backward. You build the lifestyle first through discipline, and success follows. Because how you do anything is how you do everything. The little decisions you make every day, those are shaping your identity, your relationships, your opportunities. Discipline is the architect. Lifestyle is the result. Let's talk about a woman named Claire. She worked as a secretary in a small company, barely making ends meet. But what made Claire different wasn't her paycheck. It was her mindset. She refused to let her circumstances define her lifestyle. While others showed up late, she arrived early. While some coworkers wore wrinkled clothes and gave minimum effort, Claire dressed sharp, kept her desk tidy, and handled each task with care and excellence. She didn't have a big budget, but she had high standards, and she kept them daily. She read during her lunch breaks. She made handwritten thank you notes for clients. She brought a smile and a positive attitude to work, even on the tough days. No one told her to do these things. No one was giving her extra pay. But Claire had a vision for her life, and she used discipline to live in alignment with that vision, even before the results showed up. Within a few years, her consistent lifestyle caught the attention of upper management. She was offered a role in client relations, then promoted again. Eventually, she started her own consulting business, teaching others how to elevate their professional presence and performance. Claire didn't wait for wealth to start living well. She disciplined herself into the lifestyle she wanted, and because she lived it first, it became real. Here's the lesson. Lifestyle is a choice you make before the results appear. If you wait for the perfect conditions to live intentionally, you'll be waiting forever. Discipline allows you to live with excellence now, right where you are. It turns average routines into exceptional habits. It takes small moments like tipping the valet with a smile, leaving your space cleaner than you found it, or giving someone your full attention, and makes them a reflection of your values. Discipline in lifestyle means refusing to settle for good enough. It means taking pride in the details. It means being generous when it's easy to be stingy, and being kind when it would be easier to be impatient. It's knowing the way you live is a message to the world about what you believe. Some people say, when I have more, I'll do more. But life doesn't work that way. You have to do more first. You have to act like the person you want to become before the results confirm it. That's why discipline is so powerful. It pulls your future into the present. It forces you to raise your standards, one behavior at a time. Lifestyle discipline is also about anticipation. Instead of reacting to life, you plan it. You think ahead. You prepare the clothes, the mindset, the meals, the attitude. You don't stumble into your day. You design it. And that gives you confidence. That gives you presence. That gives you peace. There's a saying, money doesn't change who you are. It magnifies it. So if you're undisciplined with a little, you'll be undisciplined with a lot. If you're careless now, money won't fix it. But if you build a disciplined lifestyle today, you'll be able to carry success tomorrow with grace and dignity. Lifestyle is not about perfection. It's about intention. It's about creating an environment where excellence becomes normal, where generosity becomes natural, and where self-respect becomes automatic. That's what discipline builds. So don't wait to be rich to live richly. Don't wait to be seen to act like someone of value. Start now. Be thoughtful. Be intentional. Be excellent with what you have. Because when you discipline your lifestyle, you're not just building habits, you're building a future. One decision, one gesture, one moment at a time. Number 8, start small, but start now. If there's one thing that holds more people back than anything else, it's waiting. Waiting for the perfect moment. Waiting for more money, more clarity, more confidence. But here's the truth. The perfect moment doesn't exist, and if you wait for it, you'll waste your life in neutral. The secret is not to start big, it's to start small. And most importantly, to start now. Discipline is what makes that possible. Because discipline doesn't require the mood to be right or the calendar to be clean. Discipline says, let's begin anyway. And it doesn't need fireworks. It just needs movement. Look at Howard Schultz, the man behind Starbucks. He didn't come from wealth or privilege. He grew up in public housing in Brooklyn. His dad worked low-paying jobs, but Howard saw the power of small beginnings. He started as a bartender, then moved into sales, then found an opportunity with a small coffee shop business. He had a vision, not just for selling coffee, but for creating a unique customer experience. That vision didn't explode overnight. It began in tiny steps, long hours, relentless effort. He started with one store, then 2. With each disciplined step, the brand grew, and eventually that little idea turned into a global movement. But it didn't happen because he waited. It happened because he started. That's the principle. Big change comes from small starts. The problem is most people are embarrassed by small. They think if they can't do something impressive, it's not worth doing. But that mindset kills progress. Because the truth is, no one starts off great. Every master was once a beginner. Every empire was once a single decision. Every success story began with a first, awkward, unsure step. Discipline doesn't demand that you get everything right. It just demands that you get going. It's about showing up, even when you're unsure. It's about doing the reps, even when it feels pointless. Because those early reps, the ones you don't think are working, are laying the foundation for everything to come. You might be staring at a blank page today. That's fine. Start writing. You might have $5 in your bank account. Start budgeting. You might be out of shape. Start walking around the block. You don't need perfection. You need momentum. And momentum is born from motion. The smallest disciplined action is more powerful than the greatest idea that stays stuck in your head. And here's something beautiful when you start. Even in a small way, you send a message to yourself. You say, I take my future seriously. That creates internal trust. And trust is fuel. It motivates you to come back tomorrow, and the next day, And before you know it, the small becomes consistent. The consistent becomes progress. And the progress becomes transformation. But make no mistake, starting small still takes courage. It takes humility. It's much easier to make excuses or wait until someday. But someday is not a day on the calendar. And the more you delay, the harder it gets to begin. That's why discipline is your ally. Discipline doesn't need a perfect environment. It thrives in the real world, where dishes pile up, bills are due, and distractions are everywhere. Discipline says, even here, even now, I will begin. Starting now also builds identity. Every time you follow through, even in a tiny way, you become more of who you were meant to be. You stop saying, I wish I could, and start saying, I'm doing it. That shift changes everything. It rewrites your story, and it all begins with one decision to start. So whatever it is you've been putting off, your fitness, your finances, your project, your dream, it's time. Not time to do it all, just time to begin. Don't try to climb the whole mountain today. Just take one step. That's all discipline asks of you. Start with what you have, where you are, with what you know. Do something small. Write a paragraph. Make the call. Go for the walk. Turn off the distraction. Invest 5 minutes. Then do it again tomorrow. You'll be amazed at where you are in a month, a year, a life. Discipline isn't about giant leaps. It's about small steps, taken consistently. So stop waiting. Start small, but start now. Number 9. Anticipate life. Don't just react to it. Most people go through life in reaction mode. They wake up and respond to alarms, emails, problems, demands. They spend their days putting out fires, trying to keep up, trying not to fall behind. But that's not living. That's surviving. And surviving is not enough. If you want a life that's meaningful, peaceful, and powerful, you have to learn to anticipate. And anticipation is a discipline. To anticipate means to think ahead. It means to prepare before the storm, not during it. It means to design your day before it begins, to plan your week before it arrives, to invest in your future before it demands your attention. That kind of thinking takes effort. It takes foresight. And most importantly, it takes discipline. Let me tell you the story of Ben. A single father of 2. He used to live in constant chaos. Mornings were rushed, bills were late, school projects were always last minute, and he felt like he could never catch his breath. He wasn't lazy, he was overwhelmed. He was reacting to life, not leading it. But one day, after missing yet another parent-teacher meeting, something clicked. He realized his kids weren't just watching what he said, they were watching he lived. And what he was modeling was stress, disorganization, and reactivity. So he made a decision. He couldn't fix everything at once, but he could start planning. On Sundays, he started reviewing the week ahead. School events, work deadlines, grocery needs. He created a morning routine, breakfast prepped, clothes laid out, lunches packed the night before. He built habits into his evenings, reading with his kids, talking about their day, even preparing affirmations together. Slowly, their mornings got calmer. Bills were paid on time. Meals were healthier. The house felt more peaceful. Why? Because he stopped reacting and started anticipating. It wasn't magic, it was discipline, and it changed everything. When you anticipate life, you reduce anxiety. You stop being surprised by things you should have seen coming. You gain confidence because you know you're not just reacting to the world, you're shaping it. You become more effective, more present, and more in control. Discipline helps you wake up before the chaos. Think before you speak, plan before you're pressured. It allows you to live proactively, and that is where power lives. Think about a professional athlete. They don't show up to the game and just figure it out. They train in advance. They study the opponent. They visualize plays. They fuel their body, stretch their muscles, prepare their mind. By the time they step onto the field, they're not reacting. They're executing. That's what discipline gives you. An edge, a rhythm, a readiness that changes how you move through the world. The same applies to your finances. Do you wait for money problems to appear? Or do you create a budget ahead of time? Do you spend every dollar as it comes in? Or do you anticipate future needs and save accordingly? That's not just financial advice, it's life advice. Because every area of your life improves when you stop living by reaction and start living by design. Discipline gives you the margin to breathe. It gives you time to think, space to plan, energy to grow. And it builds something priceless, trust in yourself. You begin to trust your choices, your timing, your ability to handle what's ahead. You no longer fear the unknown because you've developed a habit of preparation. And let's be clear, anticipation doesn't mean you control everything. Life will still throw you curveballs. But when you've trained yourself to anticipate, even the unexpected doesn't knock you down as hard. You bend, but you don't break. You adjust, but you don't unravel. Because your roots are strong, you've built discipline into your foundation. So ask yourself, are you leading your day, or is your day leading you? Are you intentional with your time, or constantly reacting to what shows up? Do you wait until things break before addressing them, or do you invest now to prevent the cracks? Discipline says, let me prepare today for what I want tomorrow to look like. That's how you build peace. That's how you build progress. And that's how you create a life that isn't just busy, but beautiful. Don't let life catch you off guard. Catch it with readiness. Meet it with structure. Greet it with a plan. Anticipate and you'll rise above the noise. You'll find clarity where others find chaos. And you'll experience a life of quiet confidence because you didn't wait for things to happen. You made them happen. Number 10. Discipline turns pain into power. Everyone faces pain. No one escapes it. It comes in many forms. Failure, heartbreak, loss, frustration, disappointment. The difference between those who rise and those who stay stuck isn't the absence of pain. It's what they do with it. And the people who rise, they've learned the discipline of turning pain into power. Pain by itself doesn't make you stronger. In fact, if you're not careful, pain can break you. It can make you bitter, resentful, and afraid to try again. But when you meet pain with discipline, everything changes. Discipline gives pain a purpose. It turns setbacks into stepping stones. It transforms suffering into strength. Take the story of Bethany Hamilton, the professional surfer who lost her arm in a shark attack at just 13 years old. Imagine the trauma of that moment, the fear, the loss, the dreams that suddenly seemed unreachable. Most people would have accepted that as the end, but Bethany didn't. She chose discipline. She chose to face the pain, not hide from it. She trained harder, adjusted her technique, and got back on the board. Within months, she was surfing again, stronger, more focused, more determined than ever before. Her success wasn't built on talent alone. It was built on the discipline to keep showing up, even when it hurt. To fall, get back up, and paddle out again, over and over. That kind of resilience doesn't happen by chance. It's trained. It's earned. It's a choice made every single day. You may not be a surfer or face something so dramatic, but pain is pain. Maybe you've lost someone you loved. Maybe a dream didn't work out. Maybe life didn't go the way you planned. And now you're standing in the ashes wondering if anything good can come from it. Here's the answer. Yes, but not automatically. Only if you choose to let pain become your teacher, not your jailer. Only if you decide to face it with discipline. That means instead of asking, why me? You ask, what now? Instead of numbing the pain, you process it. You learn from it. You let it shape you into someone wiser, someone deeper, someone who can help others carry their pain because you've carried your own. Discipline doesn't ignore pain. It doesn't pretend it's easy. What it does is give you structure in the middle of chaos. It gives you routines when everything feels uncertain. It gives you something to hold on to when emotions try to sweep you away. That's what makes it powerful. Pain will tempt you to retreat, to stop trying, to stay angry, to shut down. Discipline says, keep going, keep working, keep believing. And each time you do, You reclaim a piece of yourself. You rebuild not just what you lost, but something greater, something unshakable. Discipline turns pain into fuel, into focus, into compassion. You begin to see others differently because now you understand suffering. You stop judging so quickly. You start listening more deeply. That's power, the kind that doesn't shout, but uplifts, the kind that changes lives. But here's what's important to remember. You don't have to do it all at once. Turning pain into power isn't one big heroic moment. It's a series of small, disciplined choices. Getting out of bed when you'd rather stay curled up. Writing in your journal when the emotions feel too big. Going for a walk when your mind is heavy. Talking to someone instead of isolating. Creating something new when it feels like everything's been taken. Every act of discipline becomes a thread in the new story you're writing. And over time, those threads become a tapestry of strength. You won't forget the pain, but it will no longer define you. It will refine you. Bethany didn't just return to thing. She became a symbol of courage. Not because she didn't feel fear or pain, but because she chose discipline over defeat. That choice is available to all of us. So whatever pain you're carrying, don't waste it. Use it. Shape it. Let discipline guide you through it. Because on the other side, there's not just healing. There's power. Power you earned. Power you built. Power that no one can take away. And when people look at your life, they won't just see what hurt you. They'll see what you did with it. They'll see someone who didn't let pain win. They'll see someone who turned struggle into strength. And that, more than anything, is what discipline was always meant to do. Discipline is not just a tool. It's a way of life. It's the invisible force behind every meaningful achievement. Every powerful transformation, every lasting change. The truth is, there is no breakthrough without follow-through. You can dream as big as the sky, but without discipline, it all stays in your head. You can hope, wish, and visualize, but only discipline will turn that vision into reality. Throughout this journey, we've uncovered what discipline really is. Not punishment, but purpose. Not restriction, but the road to freedom. We've seen how small habits, when practiced daily, create massive results. We've seen how discipline crushes excuses, sharpens your character, and grows your capacity. We've seen how it transforms your pain into power and your lifestyle into a message to the world. Discipline is not for the chosen few. It's for anyone willing to make a decision, not once, but over and over again. It's in the early mornings, the uncomfortable conversations, the skipped temptations, and the quiet commitment to keep going when no one's watching. You don't need to wait for January 1st. You don't need a new job, a new location, or even a new goal. What you need is to choose discipline today, in one area, with one step, and then choose it again tomorrow. Because the life you're after, the strength, the peace, the success, the confidence, it's all waiting for you on the other side of consistent action. You've heard the stories, you've seen the principles, now it's your turn. Don't neglect discipline, embrace it. Let it shape you, grow you, guide you. Because when everything else fades, when motivation fails, when applause stops, when shortcuts fall apart, discipline will still be standing. And if you've made it your ally, so will you. The life you want isn't found in wishing. It's built, one disciplined decision at a time. So go, start, and never turn back.